y'all. Are you a true crime fan? Do you like to read true crime? Do you follow true crime on Dateline or the documentaries on Netflix? Well, if you know anything about the Alec Murdaugh murders and story, this is the book for you. So, hi, y'all. I am Dana B, and welcome to Boozy B's Books and Cocktails. We review books and we match a cocktail to the book. So, if you know anything, if you followed the news for several years, the name Alec Murdaugh has popped up several times. And I won't spend a lot of time discussing the crime or the family or whatever, because the book discussed that a lot. Alec was a very influential lawyer in South Carolina. He was from a family that was lawyers, and his great grandfather, excuse me, was a lawyer that built up this firm in South Carolina. And I didn't know the extent of what the family had done until I read this book. And the book is called The Devil at His Elbow by Valerie Bauerlein, I think is the way you pronounce the name. And I had seen her on the documentary from Netflix and then also Dateline. So when I heard that she was writing a book, I was so excited to get her take on things because she had been there from the beginning, and she's a Wall Street journalist, journalist, and she has followed this case and been interviewed and everything else. And so she really spent a lot of time reviewing this book. I think she said she had interviewed over 200 people to try to piece together the story of Alec Murdaugh. And it's amazing. I did not realize from the documentaries the crime that the Murdaugh family had committed against the people that they were supposed to be helping in South Carolina. But Paul, Alec's son, had a boat accident that killed a young lady, and that was the catalyst to get the ball rolling on exactly what was going on with Alec. And he is a very prominent lawyer in South Carolina, or was, and he used his influence and his money and his prestige to really inflict pain on the people that he was supposed to be serving. And my heart breaks for these people. As I was listening to the book, and I did listen, I listened to the book on Audible, and I just couldn't believe the things that this man did to his community and the people that he was supposed to be serving. But then, he was involved with all kinds of stuff, from drugs to mail fraud to getting his friends who were bankers and lawyers, other lawyers, to help him with this scheme. And what amazes me is that the people around him let it get this far. But his son, Paul, gets in a boat wreck, and so the family sues the Murdaugh family for in a civil suit, and they bring up the financial part of it because Alex says he's not going to pay the money because he doesn't have it. And so that starts the big stress. And then his dad is dying, and his dad was a very big influence on him and the company that they or the family started. So the night of June the 7th, 2021, Maggie and Paul, the youngest son, was murdered at their home, Moselle, and Alec is the one that calls the police and reports the murder. And there are just so many things that don't add up. And he had to be a very smart man. And there are things at the crime scene that I don't understand how if he had not been thinking about this, how it was able to cover it up. And I still feel like going forward, there's tons of tons of things that has been missed. There are people that are still covering up for him. Um, I I can remember seeing the first interview of the family with Paul and the death of the young lady, and then it just they were in the news all the time, and it just kept rolling and rolling. And then when Maggie and Paul were murdered, I told the unnamed that I felt like that he probably had something to do with it to get money to cover. He was gonna he killed them for their life insurance money to cover the sins that he had already committed and to pay back to try to get away with a lot of things. And I just can't imagine it. I just can't imagine it. But Valerie does a wonderful job, and she goes back to Civil War days. There were prohibition that Alec's great grandfather, when he was prosecuting people for doing the same thing that he was doing, there was a suicide when he there was no money left. The great grandfather supposedly, pulled out in front of a railroad on a railroad track, and a train hit him, and then the family sued, and that's where all the money started. And so it's just on and on and on and on. And then you get Paul, the son, and he is spoiled rotten. He is not disciplined. Maggie and Alec were always getting him out of trouble. And I know, or I feel like that there's no way that she, Maggie, as a mom, would ever have figured that this was going to be the outcome of what happened to her family. And my heart breaks for her, especially now that the whole Diddy thing has come out, and another man is probably going to get away with something. It reminds me of Alec, saying that he's not guilty. O.J. Simpson, he was not guilty and he got away with it. So Alec Murdaugh is sitting in jail, and we're hoping that he will stay in jail, or at least I will. But it's just, and I know I sound like I'm just all over the place, but this really hit me hard. This book was just horrible. And Valerie did a wonderful job of putting it in sequence and staying up with everything. And gosh, I praise her greatly, because it's something to go through with this family. And she said in an interview, they asked her, if you ever got a chance to interview him, would you? And she said no, because he had sat on the panel or the jury for 2 hours and told the story that he thought the jury wanted to hear, and it wasn't. She didn't feel like it was the true story. So I hope you'll give this book a try if you love true crime. This is a great book. And I even went back on the internet and looked up people's faces just so that I'd remember who they were. I didn't get to follow the whole case, but I did follow it through snippets and then the documentaries that have been out. I was a little obsessed for a little while, so I was really glad to be able to get to read this book by Valerie. So on to the cocktail. I looked up several cocktails, and because Valerie had said the devil at the devil's elbow, I wanted to, well, one, I really didn't want to do a cocktail that would make me remember Alec or stand for Alec. And so I thought about the Devil's Cut, just a splash of whiskey, and call it a day. And then, my heart was really just going out for Maggie and Paul. And so for them today, I'm just going to pour a simple 2-finger pour of Angel's Envy. And because I think that she was an angel throughout her marriage. I'm sure she did some things that was probably not very nice either, but don't we all? And so Angel Envy is for Maggie. And I bought this, several years ago, and it has become one of the sought-after whiskeys. So to me, it's a sipping whiskey. You don't really mix it with anything. So you can either pour it in a jigger to measure it out, or just put your fingers on the glass, at the bottom of the glass, and pour it. And I just put some ice in here. I didn't want anything fancy. I really didn't want a cocktail. I just wanted to pour the whiskey for her. They were big partiers. They were big drinkers. Alec's favorite whiskey was Woodford Reserve, and I even thought about doing that, but I didn't even want to give him the nod. So this is for Maggie, and here we go. It's very caramely. It's really, really good. It's very good sipping bourbon whiskey. So thank you so much. I hope that I did this as well as I could do it. It's a great book. If you do love true crime, or if you're just interested in what went on and behind the scenes and legacy, history, it's. I hope that the people that were involved, that Alec did so bad, I hope that they have some kind of peace that comes from all of this. And so, cheers. Hope you like the new bar that we've got going on. And I hope you'll like, subscribe, and share. And let me know if you're a true crime fan, if you've read this book, what you think about this book. If I would love to talk to someone about it if that was obsessed about it, as I was. So thank you again, and cheers.
Cheers!